I think that worked. Good morning. It's Catherine from Gage. I'm just going to add Andrea Rangel here. Let's see. There we go. Oh, we're getting some sun right now. Camera. There we go. Good morning.
Good morning. Hello. Wow, you have a spectacular background. Look at that.
Oh, this really looks like a fake green screen background, and I notice my face looks green because the sun is coming through green, but it's real.
Wow, that is a beautiful cedar tree friend you have there. Lovely.
Yeah. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to talk about our July club reveal today and August. It's kind of amazing to me how fast this summer has gone. So we've already done the June installment, the July installment. We just have one more, and signups close on Friday.
Yes.
Can't believe it. So, but yeah, I think it'll be really cool to reveal our July club pattern this year. You moved over.
Yeah, the sun is like going straight into the. Hold on. The sun is just going straight into the camera. It's not. It gives me a beautiful filter, but
it's beautiful.
There we are.
Cool.
So I think usually we do kind of a showing our latest project by me holding up the yarn and then you holding up the thing, but I get to do both today.
I think I gave you the yarn from the photography, and in the bag was all the samples from the photography. So now you have both, so that's okay. So you get to hold up both today.
Yeah, so this is our July club yarn, which went out a few weeks ago now, so all the club members should have it. Inspired by turkey tails, which are a type of mushroom, type of fungus. Not usually in these colors, but these are all colors I saw in real pictures, so I went with it. And then we're going cowl. So Andrea transformed that yarn into, let's see, this cowl.
Yeah.
So do you want to just talk a bit about the design, and I can hold up the parts you want to highlight?
Sure. I was really tickled by the way that I ended up designing this cowl. So it is knit as a rectangle, so you can cast on, it's like a foot wide-ish, and work your lace. The stripes obviously change with the yarn, so you never have, there's only the cast on end and the bound off end. So there's no extra tails there. Everything just like changes color as you go. But the way that it's made into sort of a faux triangle shawl, kerchief-style cowl, is just the way that it's folded and seamed. So one end is kind of like folded in and seamed to a vertical side, and that creates this gorgeous triangle situation, which I think turned out really cool. And also I love the way that the vertical side meets the horizontal side, so you have like a solid gray stripe bumped up against the stripes going the other direction. So I think that turned out really cool. And knitting this was so fun. Like, it was very hard to stop. It was one of those ones where you're just like, that's just another couple of rows. And my testers, thank you so much to our testers. Our testing teams are always incredible. But I think our testers finished their cowls in like a weekend. So like, they were so fast. And I think part of that was obviously they are wonderful, amazing knitters, but also just like, it's one of those that was really hard to stop. So, and I think it's also fun to talk about the process and how we got to that from our original ideas. And so I'm gonna like go back in time to the idea before that one.
Sorry, I just need to readjust. I feel like I'm, maybe I should just leave it. I'm outside because my house is noisy, and I guess I could have been in the bathroom, but like this seemed like a better option.
I
Anyway,
think
we'll
it
just
looks
live with it.
great to me.
I'll just
Sounds
live
fine
with
to
it.
me, so I think you're good. So the sample before the one that Catherine is wearing is this one here. I never actually wove in my ends. But I wanted to show how we kind of make adjustments. Maybe, yeah, you can hold up the end of yours. So as we are designing together, we kind of make things slightly improved. So in our first try, we had this cast on edge that was kind of a few different colors. And I'll mention, or I'll show the previous sample to that to say why that was. But I think the change that we made to the yarn to adjust it so that we had the purple there really worked out well. And then we also changed the other end a bit so that we got some of that dark gray in there. And the dark gray hit up against the stripes instead of the light. So the reason that we had the yarn like this in the first place was because we had a plan that we were going to make a pie shawl type thing, like, or a rounded type shawl. Somebody's saying, Upstream Alpacas is saying great Olympics knitting project, yes. Which is true. I think so, because it's like very meditative. The lace looks interesting, but it's really, you can get the hang of it pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so our original plan was actually to be a little bit more turkey tail like, to have a pie shawl, so like a half pie shape. And so here's,
hold on, let's see. It is very pretty. It looks like Earth goes to Smoky Mountains. Ooh, I like that. Yeah. The Earth goes to Smoky Mountains.
Nice.
Do you dye the yarn in segments to make it able to knit into nice color blocks like that? Or do you adjust the pattern to make nice color rows? Not the color ending in odd spots. The color actually does end in odd spots, and you just don't notice. I'm trying to find one now.
Yeah, because the color will maybe change in the middle of a row sometimes, but that is like, it's sort of like a watercolor painting. So maybe you can, I don't know if you can find any.
One example, but even when you're looking at it, it's kind of hard to see. This row here changes color right in the middle of the row. So what I do is dye self-striping yarn. And I have found that as long as your stripe is like 4 rows wide, you don't really notice it. They don't look wobbly or uneven, even if they change color in the middle. But if you have a stripe that's 2 wide here and 3 wide here, that you start to notice, especially if there's a bunch of them stacked on top of each other. But yeah, so we have in the past tried to do things where it like really mattered where the color changes, and realized that as a knitter, it is a terrible experience, because if your gauge changes even the tiniest bit, it moves over.
Yes.
You know, so you can you can tell which part of the Olympics they were watching by like how tight the knitting is. And there actually are some amazing patterns that require you to have like perfect gauge, but that's a separate type of project. We just wanted something that would be fun, and then you take a look back and people would be like, you must be a really talented knitter, and then you can be like, yes I am.
Yes, I am.
But yeah, the colors, we just wanted it to be fun, and the colors change wherever they change. I think looking at this now, the feather and fan shape makes it even harder to spot the color changes.
Oh yeah, there's a spot where it's in the pearls that you can kind of see there. But yeah, right there. These stripes specifically, like, they don't change at the same rate as like, you know, 3 lace motifs or something like that. They'll change in the middle of a lace motif, but it's something you don't have to worry about or think about. The color just changes when it changes. And that way you get the gorgeous stripes that we envisioned without having to do anything extra about that. So yeah, it's actually something that we're pretty proud of, that together we have sort of figured out ways to use yarn that is going to change color, and it can't change color, or we can't like have a pattern that's very, very exact, because like Catherine was saying, that our gauges are not going to be exact. That's just, we're humans. That's not going to work. But we've come up with patterns that like work with that concept instead of trying to fight it. And so I think that's something that's very fun and challenging about our collaborations is that we've managed to create patterns together that work with the color change and the design so that knitters can have a really good experience without being too finicky. I think that's our. Yeah. And speaking of finicky, so here's my first. It's very tiny. I actually made another one, but ripped it out. But this is the one that I have left over. This was one of my ideas for my concepts for doing this sort of half pie shape. So it's the same lace pattern, but what I discovered as I was creating this is that I did really like it. I especially liked how these purples are changing colors here and all of that. But trying to get the shaping and the lace motifs to work together was a lot harder than I had expected as far as from the knitter's experience, because these lace motifs are very simple to work, but they're very wide. So they have it's like a 14 stitch or an 18 stitch repeat. And because in feather and fan, or these kinds of like feather and fan type motifs, you have your increases are all stacked together and your decreases are all stacked together on opposite sides. You can't really just like cut out stitches like in a normal lace pattern. A lot of times you have an increase and a paired decrease, increase, paired, decrease. But in feather and fan, you have a bunch of decreases and a bunch of increases. And so making a design that just kind of like shaped within that, I discovered as a knitter that that wasn't going to be very much fun. It was going to be where you had to look at about 15 charts and you had to pay really close attention. And I kept making mistakes. And that was where I knew that this was not going to be the kind of experience that I wanted to share, was if I'm making tons of mistakes and then not realizing it until 10, 20 rows later, that is not going to be a good experience for other people, because I'm pretty much an expert. So if I'm the one making mistakes, then I know that that's going to be a bad experience for other people. So because of that, we decided to change the shape. And I'm so pleased with it.
Can I just pop in and say the original concept, a turkey tail, if you've never seen them, they are shaped like a fan, like a turkey tail. And so we thought it would be fun to make it as literal an interpretation. So you could have this like ruffled turkey tail. Right. So cool idea.
Yes.
But then sometimes the first idea that's cool is not the best idea. So.
Right. Yeah. Execution really matters. And I very much appreciate that working together, we tend to be able to make modifications. So if something doesn't work, sometimes we just take the whole idea and throw it in the trash. And sometimes we can just be like, okay, well, what if I just made this a different shape and the concept, we could still have the turkey tail concept, but slightly less literal. So yeah, but that was our design process for that one. And I just love the fit of that and how it's just really pretty and elegant. And the yarn for that, we decided to go with the more luxurious base. Yeah. Do you want to talk about the yarn?
Yeah, so it's a merino cashmere blend with 20% cashmere, and I sell online, so it's hard to really, like, you can't feel it, but in person it shows. People will, like, even people who are coming with the knitter who are just being dragged along for the day will be like, oh yeah, I like this one.
Yeah.
Like, you can really feel the softness, and we thought, especially when it's right around your neck, you want to be able to like snuggle into that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cozy, and the stitch definition is really pretty with the lace pattern. So,
yeah. I just wanted to get back to, though, that change we made. So this is the cast on edge, and when we had started, we were planning for a semicircle, and so when I've dyed yarn that's intended for a shawl, the first, hold on, I'm going to draw a triangle on a piece of paper.
Nice.
So you're like casting on right here, and if you've knit one of the, wow, it really wants to focus on my face. Anyway, if you knit those first few rows are so short, and then the rows get longer and longer and longer.
Yeah.
So when I was planning it out, we planned out what we wanted the striping pattern to be, but to make that translate onto a shawl where things get wider and wider, you just have really, really short rows at the beginning. And then when we switch directions here, those really, really short rows are like not even one row at the beginning.
Yeah.
Which was fine. Like we almost thought like, it's fine. We'll just go with it. And then.
Oh, wait, I can't hear you anymore.
Oh, did I come back?
You cut out for just a second, but you're back.
Yeah, okay, cool. So anyway, so we just wanted to make sure it looked a little more intentional at the beginning.
Yeah.
And turkey tails do have this, there's actually some like teeny little turkey tails growing right over there. I kind of want to run over and just show them. They're so small, but turkey tails do have like stripes, but it's often like a bunch of little beiges or grays, and then a bunch of little like browns or grays, in like teeny tiny little gradients. And so that was part of the inspiration for the color here. It's hard to see. There's actually 3 kind of orange reds and a couple purples. And
I love the gradient
beiges.
And the gradient beiges are like that whole section. I was like, those colors are so subtle, but like all of that gradient, I was just like, oh, beautiful. As I was knitting it, I was like, oh, I love this so much. Like, who would have thought that gradient beige would be this incredible? But I loved it.
Yeah, and if you needed, like, that is not enough contrast if that was going to be the whole show, but just as a kind of in between, that's what real fungus does. And then this slightly like electric yellow or green, that was by request from Andrea, and she was right. That's what it needed to just kind of finish it up.
Yeah, I love a pop of yellow gold, some kind of citrusy bold thing. I think really can change things. So I appreciated that you were willing to go with me on that weird bright color, because I think it really worked.
So I think that's our, so that was the July club, which means club members have that. And we're already seeing some cast on pictures.
Yeah.
Some Olympic knitting, which is really fun to see. And so it's not available anymore. We're doing this big show and tell, but you won't be able to get it till next year.
Yeah.
But we do have one more installment of our summer club. So if kind of a mystery garden inspired project seems like a fun thing either to bring with you on vacation in August or to have at home because you're not going on vacation in August, a nice little treat. Signups on the Gauge website. I just learned yesterday that my link is broken on Instagram, so I'll fix that when I get off here. But through the Gauge shop, you can join us for the August Summer Club. It'll be a skein of yarn and a pattern. And we have some pictures of the color palette of the yarn, but no spoilers, because a little bit of mystery is part of the fun.
Yes. The pattern is going to be mitts as well, so fingerless mitts is going to be the pattern, and inspired by flowers and the sky. And the link in my bio, I'm pretty sure does work. So if you need to get it right this second, or you can go to gauge-dyeworks.com, right?
Yeah,
it's right there. But yeah, we are closing those signups on Friday so that Catherine can finish dyeing the yarn and get that out to people in 3 weeks-ish, a few weeks.
The week of the 20, if the 21st is a Monday, it's the week of the 21st. If the 21st is a Wednesday, it's also the week of the 21st, but that week is when the club is going out.
Perfect. But yeah, so if you have already signed up for all 3, you don't have to do anything. Your yarn pattern will be on its way. But if you're like, oh, I signed up for the June, skip to the July, maybe I want the August. This is your moment.
This is your moment.
On Friday, so that we have time to do all the dyeing. So, yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's it. We just have to say thank you to everyone who joined us. Oh, you have one more thing?
I got one more thing, which is that last year's club is now available. So if you wanted, last year we had a club that was inspired by the ocean. So there's yarn and patterns, a cowl, a hat, and some socks. available. The yarns on Catherine's website, and the patterns are available on Ravelry and on my website. So if you have been waiting for last year's stuff, that's available now too.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for chatting. Thanks everyone for joining.
Yeah. Thank you.
I guess we'll do this again soonish.
Next time. Yep. Bye.